Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome back to 365 Days of Love and Miracles with A Course in Miracles. My name is Arlene Garris, and I am so glad that you are here. Please remember to listen right until the very end, because we have a special treat for you. And if you enjoyed today's video, please click like and subscribe below, because this helps others find us on YouTube. Today's lesson is lesson number 196. It can be, but myself I crucify. This is really a lesson about forgiveness, following on from our lesson yesterday. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. We can't have love and we don't have gratitude if we're not practicing forgiveness. Let's read the lesson. When this is firmly understood and kept in full awareness, you will not attempt to harm yourself nor make your body a slave to vengeance. You will not attack yourself, and you will realize that to attack another is but to attack yourself. You will be free of the insane belief that to attack a brother saves yourself, and you will understand his safety is your own, and in his healing you are healed. Let's talk about it. The only way to go there is through forgiveness. We cannot attack another without hurting ourselves. And when we practice forgiving another, we are also practicing forgiving ourselves. Let's keep reading. Perhaps at first, you will not understand how mercy, limitless and with all things held in its sure protection, can be found in the idea we practice for today. It may, in fact, appear to be a sign that punishment can never be escaped, because the ego, in what it sees as a threat, is quick to cite the truth to save its lies. Yet must it fail to understand the truth it uses thus. But you can learn to see these foolish applications and deny the meaning they appear to have. Let's talk about it. Our ego wants to take us down. It does not want us to understand this. It certainly does not want us to forgive others and to practice love for all of humanity. Let's keep reading. Thus, do you also teach your mind that you are not an ego, for the ways in which the ego would distort the truth will not deceive you longer. You will not believe you are a body to be crucified, and you will see within today's idea the light of resurrection, looking past all thoughts of crucifixion and of death to thoughts of liberation and of life. Let's talk about it. We do not need to crucify ourselves with guilt and shame and sorrow. None of that is real. In God's world, all we have is love and light and life. Let's keep reading. Today's idea is one step we take in leading us from bondage to the state of perfect freedom. Let us take this step today that we may quickly go the way salvation shows us, taking every step in its appointed sequence as the mind relinquishes its burdens one by one. It is not time we need for this. It is but willingness, for what was seen to need 1,000 years can easily be done in just one instant by the grace of God. Let's talk about it. This is the miracle. This can be done in one instant. All we have to do is make a decision and have the willingness to truly forgive another and to fully forgive ourselves. Let's keep reading. The dreary, hopeless thought that you can make attacks on others and escape yourself has nailed you to the cross. Perhaps it seemed to be salvation, yet it merely stood for the belief the fear of God is real, and what is that but hell? Who could believe his Father is his deadly enemy, separate from him and waiting to destroy his life and blot him from the universe without the fear of hell upon his heart? This is a scary paragraph. Who needs the fear of hell? In traditional religion, we are taught that we need to have the fear of God, and I certainly had that belief for many years. In fact, I was afraid to face God because I thought that I was so bad, I had done so many terrible things, that God wanted to bring the hammer down on my head. But A Course in Miracles has freed me to be able to see that I am a beautiful, beloved child of God, and so is everyone else. There is no hell. There is only heaven. but we need to work these concepts in order to reach it.
Let's keep reading.
Such is the form of madness you believe. If you accept the fearful thought, you can attack another and be free yourself. Until this form is changed, there is no hope. Until you see that this, at least, must be entirely possible, how could there be escape? The fear of God is real to anyone who thinks this thought is true, and he will not perceive its foolishness or even see that it is there, so that it would be possible to question it. Let's just stop for a minute and consider this foolish idea, because it is foolish, that we could ever attack another, even in our own minds, and still be free. We've talked about this many times already. Once again, this is an idea that goes ever deeper. Anytime that we are keeping someone else in jail, we are holding the keys, and we are keeping ourselves captive as well. The only way for us to be free is to free anyone that we have locked up in that jail cell. Let's do that now.
Let's keep reading.
To question it at all, its form must first be changed at least as much as will permit fear of retaliation to abate, and the responsibility returned to some extent to you. From there, you can at least consider if you want to go along this painful path. Until this shift has been accomplished, you cannot perceive that it is but your thoughts that bring you fear, and your deliverance depends on you.
Let's talk about it.
Once again, we are holding the keys that keep us stuck in fear and shame and guilt. We can take the key, unlock the lock, and emerge out into the sunlight of peace and joy and happiness.
Let's keep reading.
Our next steps will be easy if you take this one today. From there, we go ahead quite rapidly. For once you understand it is impossible that you be hurt except by your own thoughts, the fear of God must disappear. You cannot then believe that fear is caused without, and God, whom you have thought to vanish, can be welcomed back within the holy mind that he never left.
Let's talk about it.
He has never left us. He has never forsaken us. He has always been there, watching over us, loving us, keeping us safe. The only thing that was keeping God out was us, in our own minds, thinking that we didn't deserve God's love, that we were too terrible, and we deserved to be punished. Let's read on. This is such exciting news. Salvation's song can certainly be heard in the idea we practice for today. If it can be but you crucify, you did not hurt the world, and need not fear its vengeance and pursuit, nor need you hide in terror from the deadly fear of God projection hides behind. The thing you dread most is your salvation. You are strong, and it is strength you want, and you are free and glad of freedom. You have sought to be both weak and bound, because you feared your strength and freedom. Yet salvation lies in them.
Let's talk about it.
Here we are. We kept ourselves all tied up, tiny and small, not to be living large, not to be living fully, because we were afraid of our own salvation. We were afraid of the unity with God and of all creation. We don't need to be afraid anymore. We can go out in all our glory, just enjoying our strength and our freedom.
Let's keep reading.
There is an instant in which terror seems to grip your mind so wholly that escape appears quite hopeless. When you realize once and for all that it is you fear, the mind perceives itself as split, and this had been concealed while you believed attack could be directed outward and return from outside to within, and thus a God outside yourself became your mortal enemy, the source of fear. This section is talking about God with a small g. We made up the punishing God. We made up the God of fear. That God does not even exist. The only God that exists is a God of love, a God of freedom, a God of peace, a God of joy. We need to realize that we fear ourselves. We fear our own minds. We fear the stories that are running around up there in our heads. And only us can let those stories go and embrace the true freedom that comes when we accept that it can be but myself I crucify.
Let's keep reading.
Now, for an instant, is a murderer perceived within you, eager for your death, intent on plotting punishment for you until the time when it can kill at last. Yet in this instant is the time as well in which salvation comes, for fear of God has disappeared, and you can call on Him to save you from illusions by His love, calling Him Father and yourself His Son. Pray that the instant may be soon, today. Step back from fear and make advance to love.
Let's talk about it.
That murderer within us is our ego. Yes, it's true. Our ego wants to kill us. Our ego does not want us to come over to the side of love, to embrace these concepts, and to know within our deepest selves that we are all God's beloved children.
Let's finish today's reading.
There is no thought of God that does not go with you to help you reach that instant and to go beyond it quickly, surely, and forever. When the fear of God is gone, there are no obstacles that still remain between you and the holy peace of God. How kind and merciful is the idea we practice. Give it welcome as you should, for it is your release. It is indeed but you your mind can try to crucify, yet your redemption too will come from you.
Let's talk about it.
When we recognize that this entire course is about us taking responsibility for our thoughts, being aware when we are trying to crucify ourselves, we're beating ourselves with 1,000 lashes for saying that dumb thing or making that silly mistake, we can forgive ourselves. We can stop crucifying ourselves. When the fear of God is gone, there are no obstacles that still remain between me and the holy peace of God. We are free to just unlock the jail, release ourselves, and walk out into the sunshine of the Spirit. It can be but myself I crucify. Today's practice sessions, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and on the hour, stop and remember, it can be but myself I crucify. This is especially useful anytime that we are beating ourselves up. So let's put it into practice today. Thanks so much for listening right until the end, my friends. If you enjoyed today's video, please share the love. Tell others about these videos. Encourage them to start at lesson 1 and only do 1 lesson a day. Are you ready for our special treat?
Here we are, flying into Seattle on a beautiful
Flying over
sunny
Mount
day.
Rainier on a
There's
beautiful
Mount
sunny day.
Rainier off in the distance. Never seen it like this. Oh, look at that. It's a totally cloudless sky welcoming us back to the north.
It can be but myself I crucify. I'm not going to crucify myself anymore. I'm going to catch myself when I'm doing it and tell myself to stop and accept God's freedom, peace, and joy. Have a blessed day, my friend. I love you.